happened with the flood?
With the flood, I can give you an update on that. Not sure the date, but it was the last part of that sub-zero weather we had. Then, you know, as you all know,
Right before Christmas.
right before Christmas. It was
Yeah.
before Christmas.
Well, it says the 26th.
Yeah, I'm not sure the date. It was that Sunday night.
Minus 21 degrees.
Yeah, Costa ice dam around the corner. The corner draining in the roof, it all drains to one corner there. There's a spout that goes out. There's heat tape that's there. We couldn't keep up. The ice formed above that, and there's a secondary drain. As the water gets about 2 feet deep, it comes into the secondary drain. I will tell you that the capital facilities person, Ben Eagleston, did show us in his timesheets where he checked that secondary drain in November, and it was fine. But when the water backed up into that secondary drain and the water went down that, we believe there's a bee's nest in it, or a bird's nest in it. It goes inside the wall, and it goes down, and it goes out. Somewhere inside there is flood.
Okay. I'm more
And-
interested in
yeah, I'll
what
get to it.
happens to the document.
Yeah, I'll get to it. And it plugged, and then because of the weight of the water, it dropped, it pulled the pipe apart. They called me. I was the first commissioner. Ben called me at 5:30 in the morning. That morning I drove down to Clare on my way to the courthouse to shovel somebody's driveway that was complaining about that we plowed their driveway. I was literally shoveling an old lady's driveway when Ben called me about the flood at the courthouse. And he said, hey, there's water in the courthouse. I want you to know I'm here. He said, I checked the cameras. It happened at 5:30, 4:30 in the morning, 3:30 in the morning. It only went on for about an hour. Came down on top of Crystal's desk. It first came into the elections office. It got the ballots, which were required to be sealed in the elections office for, you guys know the details of days. It filled those boxes, got them wet in top of the boxes, ballots. Came down through, it soaked Liz's carpet, probably an inch of water up there. Came down through her office on top of Crystal's desk. It soaked Crystal's desk, everything on top of the desk up and wet. A couple of ceiling tiles fell down there. Then it went down through Crystal's office, down to Public Works, downstairs. There was nothing really went on down the stairs. Very, like a bucket of water. No damage at all downstairs. They were back to work the next day downstairs. There was nothing, and I will repeat this, no documents destroyed. Every single one has been accounted for. Okay? The one we couldn't find was the head sheet that the commissioners for the hotel motel tax award, and we found. And when the insurance cleanup guys came in and they were cleaning stuff up, and Crystal and I found it. It's wet, but you can read it. So we have all the documents accounted for. The ballots were damaged. They're readily readable. It's just as if you spilled a glass on this and wiped it up. It was, and I'll let Mary Ann speak for that part of it. She has given us several updates. She consulted immediately Secretary of State and the state, told them what's going on. She also consulted, and they referred her to a document preservation organization in Texas. She called them. Their advice was, well, of course we can restore them. You know, there's a time period where we have to retain those. Their advice was, put them in the freezer until that time period is over, because they'll be well preserved just as they are, and that's the easiest way. And so that's what we did. We put those in a freezer. They are now in a freezer. Downstairs we had a freezer that was
I know,
left.
I saw it.
Yeah, and so that's where those are at. We could spend the money and have those restored. If they were a document that required long-term retainage, that's what I think we would do.
That's my other question, if you don't mind.
Sure. I'm having trouble hearing you, so speak up.
Okay. How long do you have to keep records?
Depends on the record.
Okay, housing records,
Housing records, what kind of housing records?
any kind of housing records, anything that has to do
Great.
with property.
I've got all the RCWs on that. The ballots have to be kept for 22 months. All of the other deeds, and property records and stuff like that are forever. Okay? Titles, all of that, any of that stuff. And I guess the real concern is that we're sitting here now in February 22, and it would sure been nice if a detailed report like that had come out really early before all the, I gotta just say, it didn't get handled very well.
Okay.
And that would really make a lot of difference. The second thing that I'm getting inquiries on is what are we gonna do to make sure that never happens again? I mean, like, how did the ballots not get
Couple of things,
plastic covered
couple things
boxes?
I will address there.
Yeah.
As was mentioned, housing documents and deeds and those, none of those are now kept in paper. Those are immediately scanned, you're given back the originals, and those are recorded digitally. So, of course, there are risks with digital recorded as well. Everything there is risk. So don't have in your mind that we have all these boxes with all these deeds. We don't. Okay? That's been quite some time since that's been the case.
Well, that's why they get $300 for filing.
Well, yeah, because you can take a picture of it. Here's $300. But yeah, so it depends on the document. It depends on how it is. Some of the historical documents, many of those that require long-term storage, are sent to state archives. And again, this is not my department. This is Mary Ann's department, but she's updated us numerous times on it. If there's a long-term requirement, we don't keep it. We send it to state archives, and they have an archival building that they store those historical or significant documents that need to be stored a long time. And almost always, there's also a digital backup. Same with the ballots. You need to understand those are all been scanned. There is a digital backup for those. These are just backup, the paper, the original. That's why we have them. So, yes, and almost, I would say, all of our documents have digital backup. If I had my laptop here, I can go on my commissioner file, and I can see every document from the Board of Commissioners back 10 years. Every single document.
So in the interest of time, I'd like to submit that, because you guys are the legislative authority on that, one is to do a detailed report and somehow get that out on the media or put it up on the website, and then we can direct people to go see that. That transparency will put that to bed.
Okay.
Especially if there's things that you're doing that circumvent that being an issue. And then last but not least, of course, is, water gets in pipes around here. That's going to happen again and again.
Sure.
So, there obviously needs to be some remediation on how that's done.
Sure.
For an anecdotal story to that, when they built the ski towers at Silver Mountain, Von Roll and the big world-class ski area building company, did not drill holes in the bottom of the ski towers that ran the cables on. And two of the chairs went snap and fell over. And one on the gondola did the same. Water is very invasive, but these are the kinds of things that pipe needs to never be used again, obviously. Somehow they got to get it.
Yeah, we're going to dig into that wall. I think they might have actually already done it. The risk management and insurance people said they would, of course, pay for that. We're going to dig into that wall. It failed in two ways. First, three failures. First, the dam, then that plug, and then because of the weight of the water, we think something pulled apart.
Okay, would you say that was done because there wasn't complete maintenance that has been done on the building consistently over the years?
I own 5 houses.
Okay.
I own
Can I have one?
5,000 square feet of commercial building in Sawmill. I have 4 forklifts. I have a log loader. I have 3 log trucks. You have enough stuff, you're always going to have failures. I don't care who maintains it. And Ben is a very competent employee. He is underpaid. He is overqualified. he could make more money at a lot of places. No, I would not say that that was an issue with me. He was able to demonstrate to me that he checked that on his
I'm
box.
not saying him, I'm saying like.
Well, that pipe has to be 50 years old, if not
It's
more.
more than that.
Yeah.
But it has been actually updated, that pipe. They were aware of it, and it's not the age of the building.
Well, I would just, we gotta move on, but I
Sure.
think if the county would issue a really comprehensive story about that, put it on the website, announce it through the papers and things, and let people know that, you looked at it, you figured it out, this is what we're doing.
Well,
It's all dribbled out, pardon the pun, in bits and pieces.
So Don Grind was there, one day, I can't remember what he showed up for. And he's like, well, what happened here? And I told him, we had a flood. And he took a picture of it.
Yes.
Yeah, and I was with him when he took the picture. So,
But from a marketing point of view, just the use of the
I
word
understand.
flood,
Yeah,
our
I
envision's
understand.
a flood, no, you had a pipe break.
Yes,
If
it's
it
called
had been
public
characterized-
relations. I understand.
Yeah, so if it had been characterized like that, it would have
Yeah.
gone away a lot easier.
Yeah.
All right, anybody else got anything for Brian? We're gonna-
I'm happy to answer questions
Yeah.
even afterwards.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brian, for being
Yeah.
here.
All right, so, the new guy didn't know to do that, and all the water went in and down through Liz Krasinski's office, and all the ballots got destroyed, on down to Crystal's office at the commissioners, and their records got destroyed, on into the jail basement of the old courthouse, where it used to be jail, which is where all the county records were stored in paper boxes. And they didn't want to tell it. Even the minor hasn't had a story on it. But, Mary Ann just got reelected because experience matters. Well, you've been in there for 17 years, and the number one thing you're charged with on all the RCWs in the state is you got to be responsible for all the records. And Commissioner General says, oh, well, that was not God. No, it wasn't. It was negligence. What are you going to do? So, no, you can't, because guess what? After you look at all the RCWs, the auditors don't have any legal responsibility in jeopardy, but it just goes against our county's insurance, and they bought freezers, and they sent all the records. They're going to have to send all of them down to Texas for restoration if they can save any of them. But those are the ballot envelopes with signatures supposed to be saved for 22 months. And they're they were hiding it from everybody, and we stumbled into it because one of our members walked in to get a copy of her voter registration so she could go over to the post office and get a P.O. box. But couldn't give it to her.
Stuff like that's happening all over the place, though.
It's called dereliction of duty, negligence, malfeasance, but unless you have a felony conviction against your auditor, you can't remove her. They've got it so that they've written all the laws in a way that there's no penalties for failing to do your job, and so they can just pass it off.
And that's our responsibility. We should be voting them out.
Well, we tried, but
So you got to have